All right, sparklers, it's time for The Gold Mine, a personal diary where I talk about the real challenges and triumphs we face as entrepreneurs. My goal is for all of us to feel a little less alone on this journey and a little more inspired to keep going. Have you ever made a promise to yourself regarding your business only to feel like the universe is testing you over and over again? Maybe you've committed to dedicating Mondays to marketing, but suddenly every Monday, your inbox floods with urgent customer emails. So you either hold the boundary and prioritize your marketing, or you let it slide this time, telling yourself you'll do it later, but later never comes. I find this happens a lot, especially when you finally declare to yourself, this is it. This is the year I finally stick to insert thing here. For me, that commitment in 2025 was deciding to no longer do speaking engagements or writing articles for publications without reasonable compensation. I wrote it down as my non-negotiable 2025 goal because for the past few years, I had been happily offering my time, my energy, and insights mostly for free to trade shows and industry publications. And I had convinced myself over and over that exposure would lead to business growth and that it would all pay off eventually. But of course, the people organizing these opportunities also promise exposure. But 2024 really broke me and taught me a lot of lessons and helped me decide on the boundaries I want to be setting. I was burned out, I was stretched thin, and worst of all, I was feeling really resentful about all of those free things I was doing. I found myself hating that free work that at some point I hadn't minded that much. That moment of clarity for me, that aha moment, as we say, came during JCK 2024 when I gave 3 different talks over 3 different days, each talk about 45 minutes long, and the prep was hours and hours of work, crafting presentations, formatting the PowerPoints exactly how JCK required, submitting everything for approval, rehearsing to make sure I delivered those strong sessions, and I wasn't compensated for any of that. On top of it, I paid for my own travel, hotel, meals, and I had to step away from my business for days to do it. And for what? To speak to an audience that, quite honestly, and who can blame them, they weren't looking to hire a marketing consultant. They just want to sit down for a little bit after walking the trade show all day and absorb whatever tidbits they could. But something really snapped for me. One of those days, one of my exhibitor friends pointed out that my talk was featured in the JCK Daily Bulletin, right next to Sugar Ray Leonard's keynote. Literally a picture of me and a picture of Sugar Ray Leonard as the highlights of the day. I was kind of flattered for a moment, but then I really looked at that page. There I was, a professional contributing valuable expertise to the jewelry industry, making $0. And there he was, a retired boxer with no connection to the jewelry industry, being paid, at least according to Google and Sugar Ray Leonard's speaking fee, $50,000 for his appearance. And that was the moment I stopped gaslighting myself into believing that, quote unquote, exposure was enough. Let me take a second to say this loud and clear. Exposure is not compensation. I don't care how prestigious someone tells you an opportunity is. I don't care if a trade show, a magazine, or a big name industry figure says, this will be great visibility for you. Your time and expertise have real value. And even if an opportunity does help you build your business, that doesn't mean you shouldn't be compensated fairly for the effort, resources, expertise that you put in. By the end of 2024, I had quietly decided enough is enough. I didn't make drama about it. I didn't make a big announcement. I just decided for myself and in my notebook of goals that I was no longer going to be doing unpaid labor. It has been tempting to go back, though. I have really been tempted to cross that boundary that I set for myself. Because you know why? I love speaking. I love sharing my knowledge. I love connecting with people, and I really want to be involved, so much so that it's tempting to do things for free. And that's what makes it so hard to set a boundary like that. So when someone from JCK reached out a few weeks ago asking me to do a few talks again, assuming I'd be available, I did hesitate for a moment. I was like, yes, I want to be included. I want to be there. I love the experience. But I took a breath, remembered my boundary, and simply replied, this year, I've chosen to only do compensated speaking engagements. So unfortunately, it's not going to work out. I didn't over explain it. I just reinforced my boundary. The response I got was, as expected, a pretty standard industry reply, essentially that this particular conference doesn't pay speakers from within the jewelry industry, despite the fact that speaking engagements require significant time prep and travel costs. It was also reinforced to me that there's no shortage of people eager to take the stage for free. And that felt like another knife that was testing my boundary. So damn hard to stick with it. I wanted to say, oh, but wait, don't forget about me. I want to be included. It feels like you're missing out or even being punished for standing your ground. And you start to wonder, am I making a mistake? Is this boundary too harsh? Should I just do it anyway? Am I actually hurting my business by saying no? Is this actually personal? The more I sat with this, the more I realized boundaries only feel like punishment when we've been conditioned to say yes to everything. And I know I'm not the only one who's felt this way. So let me ask you, have you ever said yes to something just because it seemed like the right thing to do? Because someone told you it was quote unquote prestigious or a great opportunity? It's really easy to fall into that trap. But here's what I've learned. When an opportunity comes your way, don't just take it at face value. Ask questions too. Not just to the person offering the opportunity, but if you can, to other people who've done it before. That's what I started doing when I felt really bad about this situation and felt tempted to break my own boundary. I reached out to past speakers and contributors because I needed to know if I was the only one feeling this way. I felt really alone in my frustration, and more information felt like it would help. And what I did find was eye-opening. Not all speakers at JCK are unpaid. I've spoken with non-jewelry industry past JCK speakers who were paid thousands, and I know influencers who had their travel fully covered. This is why setting boundaries is so important, because if you don't set them, people will always expect more from you. They'll tell you an opportunity is good for you, but it's important to pause and consider who it's truly benefiting. And boundaries don't just apply to speaking gigs, like in my case. They show up in every single part of your business. Maybe it's a store that keeps pushing you to send more inventory on consignment when you're already stretched thin. Maybe it's a customer asking for just one more customization at no extra charge. Maybe it's feeling pressure to say yes to something just because you think you should, or you actually feel like you might be missing out. So when you're faced with a situation that demands more of your time, energy, and resources, check in with yourself and with people you trust. Is this actually worth it, or am I saying yes because I feel like I have to? Is this leading to real business growth or just another way to get free labor? Am I being compensated fairly for what I'm really bringing to the table? The hardest part of saying boundaries isn't just the no, because I can say no, but then I have to deal with the flurry of doubt and thoughts and just mess in my head about it. It's trusting that your no is the right decision because your work has value, your time has value, and you deserve to be respected for what you bring to the table. This is hard as hell. I hate setting boundaries. I have to set some kind of boundary multiple times a week. Reinforcing them is extremely difficult. Even though at the end of the day, I've decided this is the right decision for me, I still agonize over it because I want to say yes. I want to be involved. I want to share and teach. But at the end of the day, respecting my time and value has to come first. And if you're out there setting boundaries in your own business, whether it's declining unpaid opportunities, raising your prices, saying no to bad fit customers or other situations, or shifting the way you operate, I just want to cheer you on and say, good freaking work. You're doing the right thing. Keep reinforcing those boundaries even when it's hard, because this isn't about money at the end of the day. It's about respect. And I know that's what it's about for me. And when you start respecting your own value, the right opportunities will start respecting you too. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this video helpful, please like, subscribe, and check out my other videos for even more tips and guidance.